Hi and welcome to my PlayHouse. And today we're in the Datacenter, and it's a little bit more noisy than usual because it's hot outside, and so the server spins up the fans to keep cool. Even though I have improved the cooling in here, they still spins up, so I need to continue that way. But today I want to talk memory and memory balancing and why this is so important, especially now that we are getting new CPUs on the market. Intel has kind of released their new CPU setup versions. I'm actually not totally sure right now what they are gonna call them because I've seen different numbers. You will probably have seen that in another video, maybe, or maybe not, but well, I'm not sure what to call them yet, but it's the version 5 of their CPUs, and they're based on the Skylake processor and the Pursley platform. So, but the magic thing about those CPUs is that they have 6 memory channels, and that's a lot. So the servers that I have right now, they have 3. Actually, those over here only have, I think they have 2. And now it jumps up to 6 memory channels. And that's a lot of memory channels to keep track of. So I wanted to actually just go over what this is and how to do this the best way. And hopefully also how not to get into too much trouble. Because if you put the memory in wrong, you get a penalty. And it's the whole system that is drawn down into the dirt if you do that wrong. Okay, so let's open up a new page here in Dave Cat, copyrighted Dave Jones, of course, and I'll do some drawing here. Let's say we have a server, very nice big server, and let's just say that it's an M4, and that has 2 CPUs, 2 of these with a lot of pins. Lot of pins right there. So each of these servers has 4 memory channels. So we're just gonna draw the memory outside. So 4 memory channels. These are of course the same size, you can see that. So when you have to put memory in this server, let's just say this is totally empty and we can put memory in these channels. Let's just, those goes up in this one, those go up in that one. So now it's very important that CPU 1 and CPU 2 get configured in the right order. If there is only one CPU, you will of course only populate over here. But if there are 2 CPUs, you need to populate both of them at the same time. I'm not totally aware if it will actually work to just put in let's say a couple of memory DIMMs over here and still have 2 CPUs. That might not work at all. But you could put in one here and one there, and that would work. That is actually something that I should try someday, see if that would work. It's very important to put these memory blocks in the right order, and the right order is one here and one there. And when there are 2 CPUs, that's really what you want to do. You want to put in one in each every time. And let's just call this 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. This server, the X3650 Model 4, has room for 24 DIMMs. That means that in each of these memory channels there are room for 3 DIMMs. So we could kind of divide that, right? So these are all spots that we can populate with RAM. I need something to play RAM here. I'll go find something. found something. These are for mounting racks to make it look good. Now they're gonna be RAM blocks. So it's pretty normal to get a new server and just have 2 memory blocks in it. And in that case, you would have a memory block here and a memory block there. Right. So let's just say that these are 8 GB blocks, and now the server has 16 GB of memory. And then comes the day where you want to upgrade your server. So you could do like this. That would be unbalanced memory. That wouldn't be good. Actually, also this is not very good balance, but if you only have 2 blocks, well, they're kind of balanced between the 2 CPUs, but there is no way you can balance 2 blocks in 8 memory channels. So what you want to do when you get the next 2, you want to put those each in its own memory channel. Now it's still balanced, even though you only have 4 blocks. This is still the best way to go. So now we are up at 32 GB. Let's just go the full way and say that we've been out there we've been out there working our ass off. So now we can afford 64, a total of 64 GB. And the right way to put those would also be in a new memory channel. That way this CPU will have a block in each of the memory channels, like that. And this is very much the optimal way of configuring this. This is awesome. That's the way you want to do it. This is cool. This is very good. This is maximum performance. Awesome. So okay, we get a new couple of memory blocks. Where do we put? That one is bigger. That's not gonna cut it. No. We have to use the same memory blocks here. We actually don't, but still we do. We could have different memory sizes in this, and that could also make it unbalanced. So, and that wouldn't be a good thing. That one is too big too. Oh, okay, never mind. So the next 2 memory blocks, we would have to put those in that way. That would be the way to do that. Now we actually pay a penalty in this configuration, because now it's not balanced between the memory channels here. To not pay any penalty here, we have to put in memory blocks in these. When we do that, we will be back to balanced memory. So let's put in some more memory. We need to get some more from our distributor over here. So this would be perfect again, especially if all the blocks are the same size, the same speed, the same vendor. Well, that's not as important, but that would be great. This is of course the memory blocks, and well, and these are really the numbers to look at. This one is a 16 GB, and it's an 2R, and it's a PC3, and it's 14,900R, and that is important. We are also not able to, because kinds of memory. A server like this can use different kinds of memory. Like this one, it would never fit, but you can kind of see they moved the holes over. This is a DDR1, I think, and that one is a DDR3. So not gonna rock. This one would, on the other hand, fit in the server. Here, but this is an R4. That's kind of okay, but then it's a 14,000 It's a 14900L, and that L means that it's not compatible with this 14900R. So I will not be able to put these two in the server at the same time. That's not gonna cut it. I can use all of these R's, or I can use all of these L's, and I'll be good. The next trick with this is actually that, for example, in the M4 up here, if you occupied the last room in this, let's just put some in. If you install these memory blocks equally in all of the slots, you actually lose performance, because occupying the last one here will drop the memory frequency. In the processor I have, the maximum frequency is 1600 megahertz for up to there. If you put in the next one down here, it actually drops down to 1000, I think it's 66 megahertz. So there is another penalty right there, that occupying all of the memory slots, you actually drop down in speed. So you get maximum performance with this configuration, the maximum amount of memory, maximum frequency, and there is no penalty in this configuration. The problem is really that you need to do this. If you want maximum performance, you need to put either this configuration or this configuration. That's the best. After that, well, this configuration, this configuration, this configuration, and that's probably as low as you want to go. But you could also get into trouble if you do something like this. That's unbalanced memory, and you'll get a big punishment on performance not balancing the memory right. That would be like this, but doing it like this, well, it's unbalanced. This is just memory of equal size. If you have like 4 GB blocks, 8 GB blocks, 16 GB blocks, 32 GB blocks, or 64 GB or 128 GB blocks, it becomes even more difficult to manage this, because let's go back and say that we have 8 GB blocks here, and then we get another couple of blocks, and there are 16 GB blocks. So there it's very important to put one in each, and not like put the 2 8s, or let's just say this is 2 8s and this is 2 16s. Well, you will have another unbalanced system. So it's important that each of the CPUs has the same amount of memory. Also, it's important for each memory channel to have the same amount of memory. So this is becoming the advanced version of DaveCat, really fast with plugins and everything. Okay, this is how you would do this. 8 GB in the first memory channel, 2 4s in the second lane, and the same thing over here. I do not know if this configuration would give the same result. Haven't tried that, but I do see that explaining this, they always want you to do the same thing on the 2 CPUs. So you want to have the same amount of memory in each of the channels, if at all possible. Here it's not possible, and if you do like this, well, you will get a bigger penalty. Actually, with this configuration you don't get a penalty. With this configuration you get a penalty. So you definitely want to go this way. And to make a configuration like this, it actually becomes quite a difficult task to put in memory, because if you look at, for example, Lenovo's manual on how to put in memory, they will tell you to do it like this, because they're assuming that you're putting in memory blocks of the same size. They don't know that you want to put in 8s and then 4s. And over here you might put in another couple of 4s and an 8, and well, as long as there's the same amount of memory in each channel and the same amount in each. Okay, I just went shopping again and bought 2 8s and 4 4s. That's the same configuration as we have up here right now. So what I would personally do, I would move those over here, put an 8 in and another couple of 4s. Like that. And I would have to do the same thing over here, move the 4s over. It doesn't really matter where the 4s are. They could also be here, or it could be over here. As long as there is the same amount of memory in the different channels and on the 2 CPUs, but well, I just kind of like this configuration better. So this would be okay. But I don't know if you can see the problem. As soon as we want to upgrade this to something else, to something more, we will lose performance. And it's not just a little bit. Let's say that we didn't have these two. We might lose something like 15%. It's no small part. It can easily be 15, 20, 40%. Or even more. I've seen showed all the way down to that you only get 20% out of your server if you really fuck this up. If you do something like this, well, actually, let's do it like that. That would be absolutely fucked up, right? You have to do this right to get the maximum performance, and that can be quite expensive. So if you get a new server and it comes with 2 CPUs and 2 8GB blocks like this, well, that's not the maximum performance of the server. You need to occupy each of these memory channels to get the maximum performance. You need to put in more memory, like this, or even better if you have just all 8GB blocks all the way. But this will give you maximum performance in this configuration. And well, the day that you get a 16GB blocks, you're in a lot of trouble. If you want to upgrade this, well, that becomes very difficult, because you have to upgrade each of these memory channels with exactly the same amount of memory. So here is the option. We could go out and get 4 8GB blocks like this, or we could go get 2 16GB blocks. The price would probably be around the same, right? But if we put in 16GB blocks up here and we don't have these, let's try that. Put in a 16GB right there and one right there. Okay, we need to get up to 16GB on the other channels as well. Well, it's pretty easy over here. We get up to 60. We're not gonna make it here. We can only get 8 in those, which means that now the memory channels are not balanced anymore, because there are 16 here, 16 here, 8, 8, and we get a penalty. And well, 20% penalty on the performance of the CPU and the whole system. Well, that's a lot. If you look at a high-end processor, like a processor to about $4,000, well, if you subtract 20% of that, well, you could get a lot cheaper processor and get the same performance as if you're running with an unbalanced system. So instead of this 16 one, we should go with the 8s and buy those. And just put these over here. That one is going back to the store. So 8, 8, and we're getting the new 8GB blocks up here. And also over here. So Now we are at the same point as before, but now we can take these 4 GB blocks and put those underneath here, and we would be balanced again. This would be the way to go. Now there is the same amount of memory in each of the 2 CPUs, and there is the same amount of memory in each of the memory channels, and we're not using the last one, which will drop the frequency down. So, well, so it's very important to do the memory configuration in a new or a server that is being upgraded correctly. Otherwise you will lose a lot of performance, and 13 to 80% performance loss on a server, well, that's just money, energy, and a lot of other stuff right out the window, including common sense. And I hope you can see how this will be even more complicated when we go from 4 memory channels and up to 6 memory channels on each of the CPUs. That's 4 blocks of memory more that has to be upgraded every time, and 4 more memory channels that has to be in balance in the system. So well, thank you very much for watching my videos. Do subscribe to my channel so that you can see me again. Hit the bell thing up there so that you can get notified on new videos. Thank you, and have a really nice day. Bye bye.